Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining for this Tropics After Dark. Still tracking Hurricane Elsa out there in the eastern Gulf of Mexico, just west of the Florida coast. How you doing tonight, Candace? Thanks for joining. And National Hurricane Center, as of the 10 p.m. update, they had it at 75 miles per hour still. That is a Category 1 hurricane. And the movement that they had it at was north at 14, pressure down to 997 millibars. And currently you can see not really looking very impressive on satellite picture. Obviously, we're not seeing that classic tropical hurricane look with this. It's still early in the season, still July. June and July is really tough to get those really robust looking hurricanes in the Gulf, and we're thankful for that. But still with this one, we could see some issues along the western portion of Florida here. Like I've mentioned earlier, the potential to see some storm surge moving in portions of Florida. And also we've seen some of the radar. Let me switch over to that real quick and show you what we're looking at. So notice on this radar, and I kind of showed this on the page, around this Northport area, you get these the rainfall amounts that are kind of coming in from the Gulf. Remember, it has an unlimited tap of moisture from the Gulf. So you see the flow there from south to north. Thank you, Sally. Appreciate that. Good to see you on here tonight. You see that flow from south to north, the unlimited tap of moisture. This is kind of what we dealt with for Claudette back over toward the Mississippi Gulf Coast and portions of Louisiana, where it has that tap from the Gulf, so it's not running out of steam there. Notice on Northport, I'm a little bit surprised they have not, issued a flash flood warning for this area, because I posted that on the page a couple of hours ago, and it has not stopped raining in this area. So that's where the most concerning spot would be for me right now, anyway, looking at it on the western coast of Florida. But you can see just offshore there, west of Sarasota and southwest of St. Petersburg, that little spin you see is actually the thank you, Georgette, appreciate that, the spin, the actual center of circulation of Elsa right now, and that's still moving north at 14. So all of these areas, and again, this is where my concern came in yesterday, talking about if this thing kind of hugged the coastline and moved to the north along the coast, you're going to have these bands of rain moving north with it, but not moving east or west, right? Just moving south to north. And so you can have areas pick up a lot of rainfall, and that can cause some flash flooding. So this is the area I'm watching and have been watching for the last couple of hours or so. I think if we see a flash flood warning issued, this is where it's going to be issued. So I'll keep an eye on the radar moving forward tonight. Let's take a look here a little bit north now, and also close to Tampa as well. St. Petersburg, seeing some of that rainfall, maybe just east of St. Petersburg's the heaviest stuff. Lakeland up there, about to get into some rain. But you're seeing the radar here, how it's going, how you kind of get the tropical bands moving in, and you get this nice long line. We don't like to see those lines form, but that's what can cause that flooding, where you get that unlimited tap of moisture from the Gulf and lines that are moving south to north, but not east to west and getting out of these areas. So I'll watch this radar. Like I said, I think if we do see a flash flood warning, it's going to be somewhere in this area here, from Northport down there, and then moving off to the north. So we'll keep a close eye on that moving forward tonight. There's the infrared satellite of Elsa. Not very impressive on satellite, but still the National Hurricane Center says that it has 75 mile per hour winds around the center of circulation. So we'll go with that. And here's a look at the latest, as far as warnings. Now, I mean, y'all know this by now. The purple area is hurricane warning. That's about the location of the storms southwest of Tampa right now, offshore. And then these areas in the purple, they do have a chance to see hurricane force conditions as this thing continues to push off to the north and inland finally later tonight. The red areas do have a chance to see tropical storm force conditions. But I do think this right here, and this is the image I showed earlier, and kind of relate that to the radar we just looked at. But this area right here is where the most likely spot to see the flash flooding would be from this. And I mentioned this earlier when I did the earlier update this afternoon. And you can kind of see, going back to radar, is that's exactly where we're seeing the heaviest rainfall right now. South, just along that edge there, south of Tampa, along the, edge of the coastline. And that's where we're seeing the highest rain. So that was where the potential was to see the flash flooding. And that's where we're seeing the highest rain totals right now with those training thunderstorms currently on the west coast of Florida. So that's the problem spot that I'll watch in the next couple of hours. I think if we do see some flooding, it'll probably be around there. Now, a secondary portion, remember, as this thing moves to the north and hooks this way, all this area here, Charleston down Savannah, north of Jacksonville there, this will be the secondary spot. So if you got folks in that area living there, family, friends, let them know that they are at risk to potentially see some flash flooding. Remember, after storms move inland, they can cause some pretty big issues with the rainfall afterwards. So a couple of spots to watch for in the next couple of days. Right now, we're watching this area, and then moving into tomorrow, this will be the area to watch for. And again, all the areas in yellow too, a chance to see some flash flooding, but I got to be honest, on the, looking at the radar here, there's not much heavy stuff falling more to the east. Do you see the center of circulation there west of St. Petersburg? The heaviest stuff around there, but then just inland is where the heaviest rainfall. But then you go more east, so seeing places like Orlando, I know some folks around Orlando, some family up there, and some friends have asked me about Central Florida. Not looking too bad right now, actually, in the Orlando area. We're seeing some very light rain around that area, and maybe some, honestly, probably the winds aren't even that bad there right now. And, if this thing's going to be going due north, I really don't expect the conditions to be too bad around Central Florida. You could see some heavier rainfall later, depending on how far that spreads inland. Now, with that said, we do have always now, let me go to this screen here. And again, that's the location at 10 o'clock right there. You can see that the hurricane was, and it's moved a little bit north now, but this is where it was at 10 o'clock, just west, really due west of Sarasota, basically. But they have issued this. I wanted to show you this. All these areas in yellow, by the way. This is a tornado watch, and this is until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, Eastern time. So, they issue these because, with tropical landfalling systems, you can have those bands come in. You can get some, some tornadoes quickly spawn off in some of these bands. They have stretched it over to the east coast of Florida, through Orlando into the east portion. But a lot of the storms I'm seeing right now, Phil in Orlando says it's been raining on and off, but nothing too bad. Yeah, it's near dead calm wind-wise. That's not shocking. We just look at the radar there, Phil, and you can see around Orlando, yeah, light to moderate, maybe even not much rain right now. But you're far enough away from the center that I seriously doubt there's going to be any major issues there. So thanks for that live report over there from Orlando. So keep in mind, though, there is a tornado watch. They just do that with with these systems as they make landfall. You can always have a little quickly spawned tornado in some of those bands, especially close to the coast. So this is what we expect for the rest of tonight. This is around 7 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. And according to National Hurricane Center, their track, remember we talked about this a couple of days ago. We were talking about Cedar Key. Very accurate, okay, as far as the track goes, if this actually does happen. But this looks to go right over around that area. Could it be a little bit more east or west? Yes, it could. But again, if this is around the track that it takes, remember, you'll have a system coming in like this with all the rain going to be in this area here. And then as it pushes up to the northeast, or again, even these places like Gainesville, Ocala, Spring Hill, even Cedar Key, seeing some rainfall as well later tonight and into tomorrow. So something to watch for, as Ginger says. Just started getting windy in St. Pete. Yeah, and that makes sense there, Ginger, because this was at 10 o'clock, so I'd imagine the center has pushed forward somewhere, maybe around here. Probably can look at the radar a little bit and kind of see that as I go back out in this direction. And yeah, so there you are, Ginger, and St. Pete. Look just to the west of there on the radar here, and what we can see is that center right there, really just southwest of St. Petersburg. So remember, in a landfalling tropical system, the windiest stuff you're going to see is going to be east and northeast of the center of circulation. So I would imagine that it has gotten windy there in St. Pete, just like you said, and that it may get a little bit windier here moving forward in the next hour or two. So keep that in mind. You may also get some of these squally rain bands moving in that are just west of Bradenton right now. So something to watch for in the next couple of hours over there in St. Pete and Tampa as well. Lots of rainfall. Notice on the radar right now, Northport, they're all the way stretching up through Riverview and into Tampa. These are the worrisome spots as far as potential for flash flooding. And we'll watch this radar. They have not issued a flash flood advisory yet. I'm a little surprised at that. We'll see if they do that in the next hour or two if this rainfall does continue. But hopefully it somehow get that rain out of those areas, because it's been dropping there for the last couple of hours or so. So that's what I expect here from this storm. Yeah, it's going to be a north movement and then really due north into tomorrow morning. Not much deviation going to happen here. Remember, that it's riding along the the periphery of that high pressure over here. So it's just going to ride along up there to the north and then finally turn a little bit to the northeast, but not until tomorrow. So yeah, windy conditions over there in St. Pete, as Ginger said. Not much happening in Orlando right now, as Phil said. Calm winds, just light to moderate rainfall. But again, some of the rainfall estimates. Now you can see here around the area we were just looking at as a potential to see some flash flooding, that the orange area is 6 to 10 inches of rain. Wouldn't surprise me to see that afterwards from this. And then the yellow is 4 to 6, and everything else is just fine. Really 2 to 4 inches for all the green colors. Not really much of a concern there. Storm surge potential to see some of the water pushing in these areas. Now remember, around the St. Pete or Tampa Bay area, as the storm moves to the north, see right now the winds are coming in a little bit like this, but as the storm moves north of the area, say like when it's centered here, is where you'll actually have the winds coming around like that and possibly pushing water into the bay. And so something to watch for there. Not really right now so much, but later as the storm is north, maybe that wind switches and pushes some of the water in there. And 3 to 5 feet is the estimate from the National Hurricane Center. So that's just their estimate. Right here is where they listed the 3 to 5 feet possible in these areas. And then 2 to 4 feet right now seeing there, and then 2 to 4 feet up here as well. So surge, it's not a huge storm. It's not a very strong storm. So surge numbers are going to be a little bit lower than what we normally see. So keep that in mind. So again, that's the latest on Hurricane Elsa. Still a 75 mile per hour hurricane moving north at 14, I believe. Yes. And pressures at 997 millibars. Again, I'll continue to keep an eye on this radar as we go through the next few hours. Lots of rainfall falling along the west coast of Florida currently. So everybody stay safe out there. Thank you for joining for this Tropics After Dark. I'll continue to keep you all updated on the page. Everybody stay safe. And again, I'll watch the radar. Lots of rain falling though. And winds probably going to increase a little bit more around the Tampa area, St. Pete as well. Most likely because St. Pete obviously a little bit closer to the center and will be as it moves north in the next hour or so. So thanks for